Hey guys, Lance here. I'm hoping to keep this one pretty short. My new pump top has arrived. This came nice and quick, which I was really happy about. It said estimated shipping time 2 to 3 weeks. Came in about a week and a half, so I was really happy about that. I've got the old pump out of the system. You might even be able to see there the crack. I doubt that'll be in focus. But anyway, I'm going to change that pump top over, get the pump in and take a look at the progress of the build. I've got the system all back together, the new pump top is on, and you might also even notice that this piece of tubing here I've redone without a 45-degree and two 90-degree bends instead. Now it's not the best, it's a little bit lumpy, but it's barely noticeable. I'm a lot happier with it than with the 45-degree fitting and then bend, so that's the way it'll be staying for now. I was going to show you guys the old bend, but then I realized when I was trying to get a more acute angle on this piece of tubing, I accidentally cut that in half, so that one's gone. But anyway guys, I've got some distilled water in this bottle here. This is from this 10 litre of distilled water, which is very readily available in New Zealand. You can just go to the supermarket. That 10 litre bottle is only about $4 New Zealand, which is next to nothing. So what I do is I take a piece of tubing with a fitting here, soft tubing here, and a funnel, and then where one of these little fittings threads out of the reservoir, I just go like so, and over to the side there, just to the left of the PC, it may be off camera, I've got the power supply hooked up to the pump with a Molex, and I'll show you guys this as well. That is the jumper for the 24 pin, allowing me to power it on and get the pump going. So I'll fill this so the reservoir fills, and I didn't execute that very well. It's making a bit of a mess. Oh god. Okay, there we go. Lucky. Oh, that wasn't meant to happen. So we can see the reservoir starting to fill. I think we may be having a bit of a problem because there's no way for the air to get out of this. I'm making a bit of a mess. Oh shit. Alright. So I've got water all over my chair and the floor and the desk, but nowhere near the power supply, which is all I care about. So I'll make sure my hands are dry, and then I'm going to reach over and flick the power supply on, and we should get some action from the pump. And we are starting to get some water flow. So now we can see the reservoir's gone down to a lower level. We can see the tubing is starting to fill with distilled water, so I'll fill it up a bit more. Maybe I go a bit slower this time. Okay, that's working. A slow trickle. Now I don't know how much of this is on the camera, but we can see that the reservoir's filled to the top and there's a bit of water partway up the tubing as well, so that might work quite well for this. So we'll switch the power supply on and let it pump some of this water. Now we can see the radiator, sorry, not the radiator, the reservoir is lowering the level a bit slower. I can probably add a bit more. Now we can see that is slowly draining, filling the loop with the distilled water. Now the aim here of this fill is basically so I can leave it overnight to ensure there will be no leaks in the system. If that's fine, then tomorrow I'll fill this up with the coolant and I should be ready to go very soon. Once this is all filled and sat for a couple of hours tonight, I want to start getting all the cabling in and have it basically ready to go to fill with the coolant tomorrow. So I think we'll leave this part here, guys. I'll be back in a couple of hours and we'll see how we're going. The pump in the system has been running for quite a few hours. I left it for about 3 hours and then I put all the cabling in. All these Velcro straps help secure that really well, so I'm really happy with how all of this cabling is. I've routed it as nicely as I can. This is still loose, as this will have to connect to the power supply when that's in. Same with this and these two here, and this will be tidied up soon. But you guys might be able to see that LED lighting shining against the desk. Now I've connected the LED lights up to the Molex adapter that I was also using for the pump, which, by the way, hasn't leaked a single drop since I've left it running. So I'm very happy about this. I'm very excited to get this computer running. It's finally starting to feel it's almost all together. So I'll spin this around and you guys can see what it looks like from the front with those LEDs in there. Here's how the system's looking at the moment. I've got the LED lights in there and I think it looks very nice. With it all together, I'm noticing the angle of that piece of tubing a lot more, although I don't want to have to pull it apart and wait for more tubing to arrive, so that is going to stay as it is for now until maybe the next upgrade I want to do, which I mentioned in the previous video I want to do sooner rather than later because of how I had to get that radiator to fit in the front, but we'll see how we go. And you can see I've got still paper towels sitting on here just while I leave it overnight to make sure it's not going to leak. But I think it looks very nice so far. I'm very, very happy with it. So here it is. The system is all up and running. It does still have distilled water in it because I thought, since I'm testing out the loop, making sure there's no leaks in it, why don't I also fire up the system, make sure there's no issues with the hardware of the PC as well. Even though I was working fine before, you can never be too careful, so I thought, why not? So I've gone ahead and done that. Now I've taken out the 500 gig mechanical hard drive from the system. The system only has SSDs in there now. So I've got a 500 gigabyte Crucial drive and a 1 terabyte SanDisk Ultra, I believe, drive in there. So I'm very happy to not have a single mechanical drive in the system, adding additional noise and whatnot. And with the just simply distilled water in the loop, I'm quite liking the look of the purple LEDs in there, although I'll have a play around once the red coolant is in, which will be the next thing I'm doing to this. There had been a few people mentioning that I could have mounted this row of fans in the top of the case above the radiator with a little bit more modification. That was something I considered, but I really like the look of those Corsair fans with the coloured ring, and I thought it would be a nice aesthetic look for the system, so I decided not to do that, although now thinking back, it probably was going to be a better idea to do that because cutting a hole in the bottom of the case meant I could only have 2 fans on the front instead of 3 to cover the entire surface area of the 360mm rad. But that may change in future. I'm still not too sure what I want to do about all of this. Although I have been getting reasonably good temperatures so far, the system simply has load optimized default set in the BIOS, with just my rear exhaust fan set to only come in at 55 degrees Celsius, just so I didn't have too much negative pressure in the case because of too much exhaust, being that there's 3 exhaust fans on the top and only 2 in the front, and that negative pressure can draw in dust, which is really what I didn't want. But at the moment, I haven't seen a single temperature over 55 degrees Celsius, which I'm really happy with. I'm quite happy with that number, so that's why I chose 55 degrees for that rear exhaust fan to come on. I've done quite a few hours now of Shadow of Mordor, Dark Souls 3, CSGO, Fallout 4, just all games that I've wanted to play or have been missing out on playing while the system has been down, but I'm really happy with the performance. I can get 4K on high settings on most of those games, which I'm really happy about. I'm very, very impressed with the performance of this system. 970 is a reasonably old card now, but I don't think I'll be upgrading anytime soon because I'm still getting quite good performance out of this machine. But anyway guys, let's get in. I'm going to drain the loop and then fill it with the red coolant, and I'll be back for you guys to see that. This is the finished and final cabling of the system. The power supply is not modular, so there has to be some cables in the basement there. I think I did an alright job. There's heaps of spare room in the back of the case on this case as well, which is awesome. We can see that SanDisk SSD there. That's the 1TB, the black and red one, and the blue and silver one is the 500GB Crucial one. Now if we look here, I've got the drain tap set up, ready to drain the system, so I'll try and get that to focus. There we are. Now I've cracked off the top little fitting or cover on the top of the reservoir in the front, just like where I filled it. I've taken that off, and I've threaded this bit of tubing in here, which feeds into a bucket. So let's see, and there we can see the coolant begins to drain out. Now it's not all going to come out right away. I will need to tip the case around a bit, but I'll get out as much as I can before filling it with the red coolant. And there you have it. The whole system is back together with the coolant and everything in it, and I'm extremely blown away by how it looks. I mean, look at it. I love it. I'm so happy with this build. I'm so happy I decided to go with the hardline tubing. That red coolant looks so much better in person than it does in any photos or videos I've seen using that same coolant. This is the EK Eco Coolant Pastel Red Concentrate. This is 250 mils of concentrate, milliliters, and it mixes to make 1 litre of coolant. There's still some left that I've put back into the bottle just in case. Maybe some air bubbles come through and I'll need to top up the reservoir. But I'm so happy with how this build has come out. Filling this was nice and easy, which I was happy about. I did get a little bit of coolant drips from the funnel and things like that, taking the top off, and that red coolant is a little bit tricky to get off. It gets a bit sticky and it stains a little bit. I mean, you might be able to see it on my hands there, but overall I'm very happy with how my filling and draining system is working now. I've figured out the best way that works for me. I've tried different color LEDs and I still think that purple looks the best. So that is with red. That itself also looks very nice, and also the white looks almost green against the red. So I'd rather have the purple. That looks the nicest. Second, I would go with red. That makes that red coolant look very blood red. So overall, I'm extremely happy with how this all came out. A few little bits here and there that I would have done differently if I was to redo it, or had possibly more money or resources or whatever. But yeah guys, that's the end of the build. Thank you all for watching. Thanks a lot for following. If you guys have been watching since the first part or any of my previous videos, it does mean a lot to me, all the comments and likes you guys are giving. And I'll leave my Twitter down below for you guys to take a look. Feel free to follow me there. And thanks a lot to Samuel Jones for the music he's made for some of these videos. And yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, whatever. I think I've already said that. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching guys. I'll see you in the next one.